He's holding a fucking canister of petrol, swinging petrol all over the place with his teeth clenched like that, right? I see this and I shit my pants.
In the doc, you're so open and honest about when you were younger. You even what was it? You refer to yourself as a fucking arsehole going out and trying to fight everybody.
I wasn't trying to fight everyone. I was getting into a lot of fights and I didn't back down. I wasn't looking for trouble, but I didn't back down either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could have definitely done a better job of that, but I was young. I was angry. I had a chip on my shoulder. You know.
Can you remember the first time you took a punch?
Oh no, I can't.
Because for people like Stevie and I've been in a handful of push and shoves. Nothing big.
I've been punched quite a few times.
Oh,
I mean, my parents kicked the shit out of me from a very, very early age.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like pretty excessive, to be honest.
So is that what kind of made you a bit sort of like battle hardened?
Yeah, and then I had older brothers as well. So in our house growing up, and it was only until I met my wife and she kind of, I kind of figured out the error of my ways, you know what I mean? But I thought that was normal. Do you know what I mean? When I grew up, there was violence in our house every single day. So to me, if there was an issue, having a fight or hitting them and using physical violence didn't seem anything out of the norm because it's all I saw. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So obviously, and then you do that, you get a reputation and then you end up getting arrested and shit like that. So yeah, I wasn't a bully, but like if there was an issue, you know what I mean, then it seemed natural, which is regrettable.
Did violence never scare you then? The idea of me and Stevie being in a fight,
Never.
I fucking shit myself.
Never.
Really?
Again, not trying to sound hard, I was very desensitized to it. Yeah.
I've heard a little rumour, I don't know if you can talk about it or not, about like, someone knocking on your door with a hammer.
Yeah.
What, does that not scare you?
No, it wasn't knocking on the door with a hammer. It's a long story. Do you want a brief overview?
Yeah.
We've been out on a mental fucking 3-day bender, me and the boys.
Mikey B.
Yeah. It comes to Saturday night, and this is a former life, by the way. What was I? I was only 17 or 18. I was living in this little flat above a greengrocer's. And Saturday night, but we went out Thursday night, we went out Friday night, and I was rough as fuck. I'm like, I can't do it. 8 o'clock, I went back. No, it was about 10:30, something like that. I go into this flat, and there was only one way in at the back door because the front was a greengrocer's. I'm led on the couch watching some crappy movie.
Is this your flat, sorry? Or?
Yeah, I was
okay.
just renting it.
Right.
And I'm led there by myself on the couch, and I hear like a very, very faint knock. I'm like, did I hear a knock? I'm like, nah. A minute later, very faint knock again. So I turn the TV down, and I just sit there, and there's nothing. And I wait a minute or two. And after a couple of minutes, sure enough, very gently on the door again. I'm like, well, that's weird. Because if somebody wanted me, they'd just be like banging on the door. Yo, Mick, open up. Do you know what I mean? So, so I tiptoed into the kitchen and I tiptoed right to the back door, the only way in and out. And I'm standing there. It's even giving me chills now thinking about it. I'm standing there behind the door, being all quiet. And I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing? This is weird. And I'm waiting. I'm thinking, there's no one there. And I was just about to walk off. And then sure enough, there's another knock. And I'm like, there's someone fucking on the other side of that door, intermittently knocking like every few minutes, but very, very quiet, very silently. So I go, hello? And I get back a muffled voice, hello? And I'm like, who is it? And they went, it's John. I said, John who? They went, John. As if like, it's John. So I thought, it's fucking John. I don't know a John. It's fucking John. All right, John, how's it going, lad? Anyway, so I opened the door to give John a warm welcome. Good to see you, buddy. No, I opened the door and then I get sprayed in the face with CS gas, right? And I go back, I'm holding my eyes and I'm in the kitchen and then I rub my eyes and I look and there's a guy standing there with black boots, black combat pants, black bomber jacket, and what can only be described as a black Ku Klux Klan hood over his head. 2 holes for the eyes, 1 for the mouth, like a circle. He's holding a fucking canister of petrol, swinging petrol all over the place with his teeth clenched like that, right? I see this and I shit my pants. And you like to think that you're that tough in these situations, you know what I mean? But I fucking froze with fear. Yeah, it was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And looking back, there was like a knife block in the kitchen. You would think you grab the knife or whatever, but I just wasn't thinking like that. And I was screaming, what do you want? What do you want? And he drops the petrol and he pulls out matches and he's trying to light the matches. And I swear to God, he kept snapping a couple of times because he was probably nervous as well. So I ran into the front room. And I pick up the phone, I go, 999. I go, help, someone's trying to kill me. Someone's trying to send the police. And they go, sir, calm down. do you want ambulance, fire, or police? Somebody's trying to fucking kill me. I do not want an ambulance yet. and then, but he was looking, he stopped what he was doing and he just stared at me and he was just watching me intently. And I thought, this is freaking me out. This is kind of creepy. And I thought, I'm getting nowhere with the police. So I hung up and I called up my ex-girlfriend. I said, listen, you've got to fucking call the cops. You're going to send someone. And then it was only then he was like kind of convinced that I was actually talking to somebody. So he drops the fucking petrol, pulls out a lump hammer from inside his coat and comes storming towards me, right? As he comes toward me, I'm on the phone and then I shut the door and it was like the furniture was all like from the 70s. It was a furnished shitty little flat. It was just like a wood surround on the door. Then it was a massive pane of glass, right? So I shut the door with one hand. I've got the phone in the other, right? And he comes right up to the glass. But there's about 6 inches now between our faces. And he goes right up to the glass and he gets the hammer and he goes, ding, 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 just gently knocks on the glass.
Fuck.
Right? I swear to God, it was like something from a horror movie.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm holding the door shut. And I've got the phone in the other one. Right? He's going ding, ding. And I'm like, wow. I'm looking right into his eyes. And I'm thinking, who could this be? And it was like the Matrix or something, you know, like Minority Report. And I come out with this one name because I had a fucking scrap on Thursday night.
John. It was John.
It was Butch. John. So it fucking is John. Come in, pal. Kettle's on. And I said, is that you, Butch? And when I said that, the guy took a step back, right? And I thought, it's fucking Butch. So that my fear went then. And I opened the door. He swings the lump hammer at me. Then he runs out the house. The hammer just misses me. He runs out the house. And next door, they must have had like a dinner party or something. And like the family's all getting in the cars. Oh, bye. And they're giving kisses on the cheek. He sprints past them, knocks them flying. I run past. Sorry. I'm running after him. He gets away. Anyway, the police come, and we'll move on in a second. I told you it's a long story. But the police come and they check everything out. And they found, because I was a DJ, and in one of the bedrooms, I had all my turntables and records and shit. And the window was open because it was summer. They found that he climbed in through the window earlier in the day when I was out, and where like the little unit was where the phone was on, above the phone there was a wire, and he'd been in and cut that wire. So he thought he was disconnecting my phone, but he disconnected the doorbell. That's what he was doing. So that's why he was like gently knocking on the door. But he thought I was blagging it on the phone. That's why he was watching me. So this motherfucker tried to kill me legit because what he wanted to do was set fire to it. There was only one way out the place. And then I couldn't call anyone.
That is fucking insane.
That's terrifying.
It was terrifying. I never stepped foot. I was only like 17 or 18. I never stepped foot in that flat ever again.
I bet.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And then there was me taking a sip of water whilst hearing that, thinking, oh, my throat's a bit sore.
You got to stay hydrated.
That's fucking mad.
Relax, right, give me your throat. You want me to show it? Lift your chin up, you bitch. Lift your chin up. Right, so there, and then you grab your bicep.
Oh,
and then you come around here, and then